Reminiscing about those tender teenage years always brings a wave of nostalgia crashing over me. You see, I had my first brush with romance at the tender age of 17. But life wasn't exactly a bed of roses for me back then. My parents had parted ways when I was just 11, leaving me to navigate the complexities of adolescence under the roof of my devoted mother. But let's fast forward to that pivotal moment when I mustered up the courage to ask my crush out on a date. Surprisingly, she was all in, and we found ourselves embarking on an adventure that would etch itself into the annals of my memory forever. Both of us were juggling part-time jobs while trying to keep up with the demands of our senior year in high school. I, for one, was putting in hours at the local grocery store, while she was serving up caffeine fixes at the neighborhood Starbucks. Yet, despite the hustle and bustle of our lives, we always found time to steal moments of togetherness. So, there we were, two young lovebirds, eagerly anticipating our date night. It was a Friday, and with minimal homework on our plates, the stage was set for an evening of bliss. We settled for a cozy spot at a quaint restaurant just a stone's throw away from my humble abode. Sure, it wasn't the fanciest joint in town, but it was perfect in its simplicity. As the night wore on and the sky transformed into a blanket of darkness, we found ourselves craving more time in each other's company. That's when the idea of a night drive was born. With a sense of adventure coursing through our veins, we embarked on a spontaneous journey through town, eventually finding ourselves on a desolate dirt road nestled amidst the serene woods. But, as fate would have it, nature called, and we were compelled to pull over and heed its call. Stepping out of the car, we were met with an unsettling odor that hung heavy in the air. Ignoring our discomfort, we hurriedly attended to our needs, eager to resume our journey. Yet, it was in that moment of vulnerability that we were rudely interrupted by a sound. A twig snapping in the distance. Instantly, fear gripped us both, and I urged my girlfriend to seek refuge in the safety of the car, while I ventured forth to investigate. Armed with nothing but the feeble glow of my phone's flashlight, I ventured into the darkness, my heart pounding in my chest. And that's when I saw it, a figure shrouded in darkness, its presence sending a chill down my spine. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I snapped a photo, capturing the eerie scene before me. And then, without a moment's hesitation, I dashed back to the safety of the car, my mind reeling with a mix of fear and exhilaration. Safely back in the confines of civilization, we sought solace in the familiarity of her home, our hearts still racing from the adrenaline-fueled encounter. It was a night that would forever be etched into our memories. A tale of teenage romance intertwined with a brush with the unknown. Years have passed since that fateful night, and while the flames of our romance may have flickered out, the bond of friendship that was forged amidst the darkness remains as strong as ever. And as we journey through life's twists and turns, we take comfort in the knowledge that we'll always have each other's backs, come what may.
It was one of those nights that still haunts me to this day, sending shivers down my spine whenever I think about it. At 28 years old, I often traveled to visit my boyfriend Todd, who lived in another state. We took turns visiting each other, but I found myself making the trip more frequently since he had his own place, while I still lived with my sister as roommates. This particular trip was during winter break, and as a teacher, I had some time off. So I packed up my car, a beat-up '09 Hyundai Sonata that I had bought for my sister, and headed towards Todd's place. As I drove north, the snow began to blanket the ground, and I knew I had to be cautious with my car, not built for snowy conditions. It was getting late, and the snow was coming down harder. Despite blizzard warnings, Todd and I had decided it was better to push through and beat the storm rather than risk being stranded the next day. However, as the conditions worsened, I realized I needed to find somewhere to stay for the night. After a quick stop at a diner for a sandwich and coffee, a friendly waitress warned me about the dangerous road conditions and suggested nearby hotels. A man named Toby overheard our conversation and recommended a motel just up the road. Desperate for shelter, I took his advice and drove to the motel. The place looked run down, but I didn't care. I just needed a place to rest. I checked in, grabbed my key, and headed to my room. Once inside, I tried to FaceTime Todd to let him know I was safe, but the reception was terrible. I decided to go back to the front desk for the Wi-Fi password. On my way, I noticed a strange car in the parking lot with someone inside, but I didn't think much of it. I quickly got the password and returned to my room. As I settled in, I heard a noise coming from the bathroom. Panic set in as I realized I might not have locked the door when I rushed to the front desk earlier. I texted Todd about the noise, and he suggested I check the door's lock. As I opened the door, I saw fresh footprints leading to my room from the strange car in the parking lot. Terrified, I ran back to the front desk and told the clerk about the intruder. He made a call in a language I didn't understand, and a friend arrived to assist. After some discussion, they offered me a different room for free, but I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The next morning, I left as soon as the roads were clear, relieved to be away from that motel. Looking back, I realized how vulnerable I had been and vowed to never trust strangers again.
Picture this: a moonlit night in Clearfield County, Pennsylvania, with the roads eerily deserted, a scene straight out of a thriller movie. It was one of those moments when the stillness of the night envelops you, and the solitude is both eerie and strangely comforting. I was cruising along, trying to avoid the traffic snarls that plague the evening rush hour. The clock had long struck past midnight, and the road stretched out before me, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the darkened landscape. As I listened to my favorite podcast on the radio, a sudden ding from my car shattered the tranquility, alerting me to the fact that I was running low on fuel. With a sigh, I punched in the coordinates for the nearest gas station into my trusty Maps app, which, as luck would have it, was a short distance up the secluded road. Pulling into the gas station, I noticed a solitary figure filling up his pickup truck at the pump. There was something about him that sent a shiver down my spine, but I brushed it off as nothing more than my overactive imagination. After grabbing a coffee and paying cash for my gas inside the shop, I returned to my car, only to see the man at the pump driving away. It was a fleeting moment, but one that would soon take a sinister turn. Just minutes after leaving the gas station, another warning ding echoed through my car, this time signaling that one of my tires was dangerously low. Ignoring the sinking feeling in my gut, I slowed down and rolled down the window, only to confirm my worst fears. I had a flat tire. Pulling over to the side of the road, I braced myself for what was to come. Thoughts raced through my mind. Had I hit something? Or was it something more sinister? As I pondered my predicament, a strange sound echoed through the night, followed by an eerie silence. It was as if the darkness itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. With a sinking feeling in my chest, I reached for the SOS flashlight in my trunk, a gift from my father that had once seemed like nothing more than a novelty. Little did I know, it would soon become my lifeline. Peering into the darkness, I caught sight of a pair of headlights in the distance, the only sign of life in the otherwise still night. It was the pickup truck from the gas station, and it was heading straight for me. In a panic, I dialed 911, my voice barely a whisper as I relayed my location and the events that had transpired. The dispatcher's voice was a lifeline in the darkness, guiding me through the terrifying ordeal. As I waited for help to arrive, the minutes stretched into hours, each second feeling like an eternity. And then, just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, the sound of approaching sirens shattered the silence, heralding the arrival of salvation in the form of flashing police lights. The rest, as they say, is history. The police officer took down my statement, and the tow truck arrived to whisk me away to safety. And as I watched the gas station fade into the distance, I couldn't help but wonder. What if I hadn't trusted my instincts that night? What if I had ignored the warning signs? It's a chilling thought, but one that serves as a reminder. In the darkness of the night, sometimes the greatest danger lies not in what we can see, but in what we can't. And as I drove away, grateful to be alive, I made a silent promise to always trust my instincts, no matter how unlikely they may seem.
Picture this. I'm embarking on a journey from the bustling streets of Brooklyn to the serene landscapes of Vermont, all set for a weekend getaway at my buddy John's cozy cabin. Now, at the time, I had two vehicles in my possession, a sleek 2013 BMW 3 Series and a rugged 2006 Ford F-150. But on that particular night, I opted for the F-150, knowing it could handle the snowy terrain like a champ. As I hit the road, anticipation building for the epic snowboarding adventure ahead, little did I know that the universe had other plans. It was around 10 p.m. when the darkness of the night enveloped me, coupled with heavy snowfall blanketing the road ahead. The solitude was palpable, with scarcely a soul in sight on those lonely roads, except for yours truly and my faithful truck laden with snowboarding gear in the bed. But as luck would have it, my truck decided to throw a wrench in my plans, quite literally. The engine began to protest, heat levels soaring into the dreaded red zone. With a sinking feeling in my gut, I pulled over to assess the situation, hoping for a quick fix. However, it soon became apparent that this wasn't going to be a simple roadside repair. Now, imagine the scene: a lone traveler stranded in the dead of night, miles away from civilization, with no cell reception to call for help. It was a scenario straight out of a survival thriller, and I found myself grappling with a sense of helplessness. But just when despair threatened to consume me, a flicker of hope emerged in the form of headlights on the horizon. A passing car, a beacon of assistance in the darkness. With my hazards flashing and arms waving frantically, I managed to flag down the Good Samaritan, who, to my relief, had a working phone and a willingness to lend a hand. With his help, I reached out to John, my trusted friend and confidant, who provided guidance on the next steps. Amidst the chaos of the night, his reassuring voice served as a lifeline, guiding me towards a solution. However, amidst the chaos, a sinister twist unfolded, a mysterious figure appearing at my window, clad in a cloak of darkness. His frantic pleas for assistance sent shivers down my spine, igniting a primal instinct to protect myself at all costs. In that moment of uncertainty, I chose to trust my instincts, keeping the doors locked and windows tightly shut. It was a decision born out of necessity, fueled by the primal urge for self-preservation. As I drove off into the night, leaving behind the eerie figure in my rearview mirror, a sense of relief washed over me. Yet the ordeal served as a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life on the road, where danger lurks in the shadows, waiting to pounce when least expected. But amidst the darkness, there was light, a tow truck appearing on the horizon, a beacon of hope in my hour of need. With the help of the driver, I was able to navigate through the storm, emerging unscathed on the other side. In the end, the experience served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we possess the strength to persevere. And as I drove away, leaving behind the trials and tribulations of the night, I couldn't help but marvel at the indomitable spirit that propels us forward, even in the darkest of times.